President Trump is on the ballot next fall. Because if we lose the majority, if the Republicans, the common sense people here who are doing the job for the American people, if we lose the majority in the House and this radical element of the Democrat Party were able to take over, we've already seen that movie. They will try to end the Trump administration. He won't have 4 years, he'll have only 2, because they will move to impeach him probably on the first day of the new Congress in January 2027. And they will try to systematically unwind all the important reforms that we've done for the American people.
Oh my God, Mike Johnson just said a whole bunch of words, and not only were they true, they were inspiring. I loved every word of that. Please keep talking, Mike Johnson. I guess he's kind of on the ballot, not in the way that Mike Johnson is saying. He just wants Republicans who he knows will not go out to vote unless Trump is on the ballot. He desperately needs them to vote so that he can try to maintain his majority in the House. And that's probably not gonna work out for him. In terms of what the Democrats will do if they take control, they're not gonna be able to unwind much of anything by themselves, even if they took control of the Senate. It wouldn't be enough, Trump would just veto it. But in terms of potential impeachments, sure, they could potentially do that. I just want to remind everyone, Trump was impeached twice. It was not for frivolous stuff. This was not some wild, wide-eyed Democrat looking for any excuse. They did it for the Ukrainian blackmail, which is an absolutely massive scandal that most people have forgotten about, but it was huge, and his attempted coup. Those were the 2 places that they drew the line. I could have come up with many other examples, but they actually had a pretty high bar. I just want everyone to remember that. But anyway, Mike Johnson gave that speech because he's worried. And I think that you're seeing more and more examples of this sort of worry cropping up on the right in the leadership amongst their base. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene fleeing Congress, and she won't be the last. They are worried about this, and not just in the House. Senator Tom Tillis said, if we are where we are today in the beginning of the second quarter of 2026, then I think we're in for a really rough time in November. We have plenty of time to address it. There's a lot of positive things that we're doing here, that the administration is doing. But if you mess with healthcare, if we don't get healthcare policy right, if we don't get some of the cost policies right, we're gonna have major headwinds next year. And I think Trump is getting that too. I saw a headline. He's saying he wants to come up with something to stop the surprise health cost increases. Because you know how like the subsidies are going away? It's going to be more expensive. Trump is saying that everybody is now surprised by that, as if that wasn't what the more than month-long shutdown battle was about. This guy is such a massive liar, but it signals that he understands that this is potentially going to hurt them. One Republican senator said the numbers are terrible. Not necessarily for any individual incumbent senator, although some of them aren't very good. But you saw what happened a couple of weeks ago on November 4th. Republicans didn't win anything, anywhere. And one other senator said, look at the 2018 midterm. We lost 41 seats in the House. The speaker can only lose 3 this time. I would expect to lose the House. I'm just trying to be objective. And they're hoping that like Trump can help to get people to the polls. But like, bear in mind, Trump's numbers are also going down. He's at 41.9% in the polling average compiled by Decision Desk HQ. His disapproval rating has almost hit 57 or 56%. Those are not good numbers for him. JR, what do you think?
Isn't this weird? So Mike Johnson said all that stuff. It sounds more like a campaign ad for anybody that would make all this happen. We're looking at the crappy poll numbers. We're looking at the people who are rejecting all these policies that are openly and blatantly talking about the destruction of the economy and how life has gotten so much worse. People with regret for voting for this guy, and this guy's going to point out how all that there's aspects of it that could be remedied, or we can get some kind of relief, or see the people responsible for it have some level of consequence go down as long as you vote against them. Bro, you should not say this out loud. That's like giving people some ideas like, oh my God, Mike Johnson even sees it too. Good job. I mean, similar, Steve Bannon said, yo, it's very important. I could go to jail. It's like, how fast do I vote for that? Like, this is really easy for people to see this. I don't know why they keep saying this. This is great news. So, by the way, also people like that one particular senator who said they lost all those seats and Mike Johnson only has room for 3 or 4 to lose. So if you see the writing on the wall, if you understand how bad things really could be and how people understand how your party sucks at this whole thing, why wouldn't right now, when you see that, change your course? I mean, at least try and act like you care about something else. Do something actionably in small portions to make yourself look like you don't like this stuff. Or just kind of start representing people as they tell you, yo, you suck at this. These politicians are so wrapped up in their own mindset and their own world of dictating to people that they're supposed to be representing what it is that they want instead of listening and doing the right things for people. They feel like they're stuck in continuing to do horrible things against Americans. Bro, they're telling you, you suck. We don't want you here anymore. You need to change A, B, and C. And they go, I don't know how we're gonna survive.
Yeah.
Bro, do something else. This is weird. This is weird.
Yeah, they're surprised by it when it's all so clear in the polling. But you mentioned the terrible things they're doing to the American people. Why don't we focus in on one of those? Donald Trump is calling for these hyper aggressive ICE raids all over the country. But right now, we're rightly focusing on what's going on in Charlotte because that's where they're hitting right now. And it's getting so bad that some people in the state Republicans think that they might actually flip the state from being quite purple and it can go back and forth to just being a blue state at this point. The former GOP governor, Pat McCrory, has been speaking out about how it's looking to people on the ground as these raids are going on. He said, from a PR and political standpoint, for the first time, immigration is maybe having a negative impact on my party. If I were the administration, I would be really emphasizing who they've arrested and the negative impact they've had on the community, but we're not hearing that. And geez, I wonder why they're not focusing on all the murderers they're getting. Maybe they're just shy, they're bashful. They don't want to seem like they're bragging too much, or maybe it's because that's not actually who's being arrested. Another Republican said the Charlotte raids were leaving a real sour aftertaste with voters. Is the price of doing this worth it? I don't see this cloud moving away from what will be in the voters' minds. And Representative Maria Salazar was speaking with Jake Tapper, pointed out that 70% of people ICE arrested in Georgia did not have a criminal record, saying, quote, ICE should be concentrating on the bad hombres, obviously a reference to one of the saddest moments in Trump's political history. Yeah, no, it's not looking good. The fact that they keep hitting all these different cities, people don't think that it's helping them. And by the way, like you'd been telling them that would help with everything, with the cost of housing, the cost of everything. But like when you're telling us you're succeeding on immigration, and at the same time prices keep going up, you're convincing people that they're not actually linked, and that getting rid of migrants isn't actually going to improve people's lives. And you're making it worse for yourself because you're exaggerating the actual success you're having in deporting people. But to that, it was polled, people were asked, in terms of prices of inflation, Trump is making things sound, and 60% said better than they really are. That means he's lying to you about it. 27% say about as they really are. I think that's charitable. 13% of America thinks that Trump is making things sound worse than they really are. And I don't know what that means or who that would be. Who could possibly think that Trump is downplaying their success? But anyway, you can see his overall approval on the topic of the economy trending down very predictably, very regularly. It's already down to about 1 out of 3. And you can see that here, but also we've been talking about immigration. In this particular poll, CBS News, he's at 45% approval on the topic of immigration. And that's supposed to be his marquee topic, JR, but even that isn't working out for him anymore.
How are these dum-dums this detached from reality? So you're seeing right now that this guys are concerned about these immigration raids where they're attacking American citizens and other innocent folks, that they're attacking them, and that might stick in the minds of some voters. Yo, you mean destroying someone's life might stick in their minds? You mean snatching parents away from children as they cry and then running off and slamming them in the cars and taking off with them? It might stick in the brains of some voters. Do you realize that those voters that you're talking about, whose brains it might stick, they're humans and they have these lives. It's weird. They're so connected to their objectives, their demands, what they want to do to people. They have no idea that people would stick to remembering you coming and destroying their lives, destroying their lives. That's how little they think of someone else's life. They're like, oh, there's a couple of voters, as long as I keep fooling them. The objective of politicians is to fool people into thinking they care rather than doing things that prove they care. It's weird. What's the best way? Okay, let's think 4 different ways of how we can act like we give a damn. And then after that, maybe they'll be fooled. They're not fooled anymore. What do we do? Come on, man. It's easy.
The fundamental problem is they are incentivized to appeal to a variety of the worst types of people. like the most racist, the most transphobic, the most Islamophobic, the most misogynistic. They're incentivized to try to appeal to those people because that gets you like an audience in their media. That gets you through a primary. Like there's enough of those sorts of people to do that minor thing. That doesn't mean that's what everybody wants. That doesn't mean that's what a majority of people want. And thank God, by the way, I wouldn't want to live in that world. I wouldn't want to live in that country. But this is a reminder that people don't actually like seeing this. Sure, you could be like the top Republican saying we're going to deport every brown person, but that doesn't actually work out when you're actually doing it. People don't like that.